Hello, today I'm going to be walking you through how to do the spreadsheet practice. This is typically assigned as an IB Physics summer assignment, but it may be assigned some other time as well, such as the beginning of the year. If you can, see if you can do many of these things on your own, but this video again is designed to kind of walk you through what to do. What's important is that you are doing these things yourself. So it's the skills that are going to be important, not so much the answers. So the first thing we're going to do is practicing the skill filling down. To do that, you should have the spreadsheet open. We should be not on the directions tab, but on the spreadsheet skills tab. And to fill down, what we do is we highlight. So we click and drag with our mouse or trackpad to highlight. Once we highlight the first two things right here, we can grab the blue square at the bottom. Oop, I missed it. And grab the blue square at the bottom. We know we can grab it because you'll notice my cursor turns into a crosshairs instead of an arrow. So we grab that blue square and we can drag it all the way down to trial 10 and it fills in 3 all the way down. We can do that same thing with 1 and 2 and we'll notice that it counts up. We can do that same thing with set C. Again, we'll notice that it counts up by -2, so I guess down technically. And here we can see that it counts down by 25s. So this is kind of the autofill or the fill down function. Basically, the spreadsheet is learning whatever pattern you give it as a starter pattern, and you can use this to quickly fill in a lot of numbers so that you're not having to type in 1, then 2, then 3, then 4, then 5, then 6, etc. So that is what you do for that one. Quick little pro tip in the future, if you have 4 different patterns like this right next to each other or more, you can actually highlight all of them and do all of them at the same time. It will learn all the patterns. If you notice that it's not doing the pattern you intended to do, then you should go back and edit your kind of 2 to 3 starter cells to see if you can figure out a way to teach it a different pattern. That's number 1. Number 2, what we're going to do is do the sum formula for each one. So I'm going to try and sum up all of these things, but I'm going to use the sum formula. To do that, first thing I do for all formulas is I hit equals. And then you can actually start typing in and it will help you figure out what you think you should be doing. If you're ever stuck on a formula, you can search for them within Google or even online. Most of them are similar between spreadsheets like Excel and Google Sheets, but sometimes there's slight differences. To do a sum, I'm going to start by typing equals. I'll type the word sum. You'll notice that it gives us a bunch of different options here. It has an auto suggested, but I'm not going to pick that yet because I want to show you what to do. So I'm going to go ahead and click sum. You'll notice it puts the parenthesis there and then it gives me instructions. It says, oh, I just need to select the cells that I want summed. So anytime you see a colon notation here, it means you're kind of selecting a range of cells. You can also enter data manually or you can just click and drag to highlight and it will do it for you. So I'm going to go ahead and click and drag to highlight those. I'm going to close the parenthesis, hit enter, and it summed it. I'm going to do that again right here. So equals sum parenthesis, and then I'm going to go ahead and click and drag to highlight my 10 cells right there, and then I'll hit the close parenthesis and hit enter. I'll do this one more time. So, I forgot to hit equals. Equals sum. I can either choose it from here or I can open the parenthesis myself. Click and drag to highlight, and then close parenthesis and hit enter. Now, I can actually combine my skill of formulas with my skill of filling down. So let me show you what I mean by that. So right here, I went ahead and created the formula from before. Remember, we had the sum equals, and I can double click on it to see what it's summing. So we notice it highlights that box right there. And that formula looks good. So what I can now do is I can click this starter cell and I can drag the blue square over, and while it changed the colors, what we'll notice is that this actually equals the same values as if I had gone through to edit it myself. So we can see here it's summing those, we can see here it's summing those, and we can see here it's summing those. So it's a cool little trick that you can do. So we're using that formula of sum. The next formula I want you to use is the minimum formula and the maximum formula. So we're looking for what is the minimum number from this set and what is the maximum number from this set as well. We're going to put the minimum right here and the maximum right there. So for all formulas, you hit equals. You then start typing what it is you think the formula name is going to be. In this case, min pops up is the minimum numeric value in a data set. Awesome. I select it. And then once again, I'm going to go ahead and select my cells that I want it to find the minimum of. Then it gives me an auto suggestion. I'm not going to do that right now. You can, but I'm not going to do it because I want to figure it out on my own. And it may not have been the right one. So now this time, instead of the minimum, I'm going to do the maximum. So I'll type max. I select the maximum formula. And then I'm going to highlight my cells right here. I can also memorize that this is the range B8 to B17. Hit enter and go. Now I can do the same thing across all of them, where again I go in, I type minimum or min, open the parenthesis, I then highlight the cell I'm interested in, or the cells I'm interested in, close the parenthesis. Here it's trying to do an autofill formula again. I think I'm going to hit enter and select it. I think it's actually the wrong autofill formula. So we can see, yeah, it thought I wanted to do minimum again, but I actually want maximum this time. So we can see that sometimes those autofill formulas aren't quite what we really want. So sometimes we have to go in and do it ourselves. Now notice here that this pop-up is blocking the data I want to grab. I can either X out of it, or often I'll just click off to the side and then re-click where I'm interested in. Close the parenthesis, and then we're good. And we can do a quick double check. Cool, maximum value is 10, minimum value is 1, so that looks good. And we just keep doing the same thing for all of them. Again, you could technically go ahead and go through and fill across for all of them, just like we filled down before. And that would work as well. Cool. So we're good to go on that one. Now the last thing that we want to do for this sheet is to find the average. So we're going to find the average for sets A, B, and C, and D right here. So meaning we're averaging across this way. So to do that, I'm going to go over here. I'm going to say equals average, parenthesis, and just like before, we're just going to select the cells that we want. Close parenthesis, hit enter, equals average, select the cells that we want, close parenthesis, hit enter. Now again, instead of me having to fill that in every time, I can actually highlight it and then fill down, and we can go back and double check our work and see that yes, indeed, it is averaging those three values together. That's it for this one. One thing to note is you could technically fill down on this averaging across all of them, and we'll see here average is the sum. We've got a little error there because there's nothing there on that one. A little error because there's nothing there. We can see here it's actually averaging the sum, or the set sum. That would be like an average of our totals, basically. And then here it's averaging the min and max. We can see how we can stack formulas on top of each other. I like to do it in separate cells like this when I do that, so that way I can track down any mistakes as opposed to combining it all in one place. That's it for this one. If you need help on the data processing, watch the next video. I'm going to go ahead and fill it in real fast and keep the colors the same. All right, and last one. Cool, so that's our first trick.